Hi everyone, this video is the facilitator's guide to using Butter. So if you are a facilitator or if you are thinking of organizing a Butter workshop, then this video is for you. This video will comprise of things that you should do if you are a facilitator. So think of this like a checklist, and in a few scenarios we'll also look at how to do those things. So let's get started. The first thing what you would want to do is, once you've opened your Butter dashboard, you'll want to ensure that you go to settings and you'd want to ensure that you have a profile photo or an avatar selected, that is you as the organizer. Now it could be you as the organizer personally as an individual or as the company. So in this case I'm going to select, instead of choosing and uploading a photo of myself, I will just select an avatar for now. So let me select this one. So that is my avatar. And of course you would want to ensure that things like your display name, your workspace name, that is all sorted. Now if you're working for a company, you want to ensure that the branding is all sorted as well and you have uploaded your brand logo. So to update the logo, what you can do is click on the upload button and select your own logo. So in this case I'll just select this picture that I made in Paint. Nothing too fancy, just to demonstrate everything for this video. So I have uploaded a new brand logo, so all of that is sorted. Next we come down to a room level. Now when you click on rooms, you will see the number of rooms that you have created. If you haven't already, go ahead and click on the plus new room button to create a new room. Now what you would want to do is you want to create this room for your session, so one room either per unique meeting, or if it is, let's say, a repeated meeting, so let's say if you're doing a product demo every week, you can just create one room for product demo and then reuse that same room every week. Now the reason for that is because when you set up tools and when you set up your agenda for a room, it is attached to the room and not to a single session. So that means if you are repeating the same session every time, you can just use the same room and everything will just come along, right? So you can reuse everything. You don't have to start from scratch, and don't worry about things being overwritten, because the recaps, when you go on to recaps here, even though you're reusing the same room, it will store unique recap sessions, so you will have access to everything that you need. Now needless to say, you would want to name the room to something very appropriate so that participants will know what the room is all about. Now you can go ahead and start the session right away, but I'd recommend to click on setup and have everything in place ready for the session. So if I click on setup, I can see the first thing that I need to look at is the overview of the room, which includes the name of the room, give it a description so that you know what the room is all about, and you have a few settings to change, which is, do you want to record the session automatically, and if you want to, do you only want to record when the agenda starts? So you have a few decisions to make, but even if you don't, you can click on the record button once the session starts, so don't worry about that. The description is private to you, so nobody else can see it. The other thing that you might want to change is the room URL, so that is very accessible for users to click on and visit the rooms. Let me just try 3 to 1, click on save, and then that would be the new room URL for this particular room. Once you click on save, things will reload, and there you go. So now I can click on this link and then paste it anywhere else, and so the users, once they paste in this URL, they'll be able to join the room once the session actually starts. The next thing that you want to take a look at is waiting room. So as you can see, this is what the waiting room would look like when users click on the link and head over to the room. Now here we have a few options. Number one, we can change the background color for this. So I'll just make this as white, but you can obviously change the background color to whatever color you want. This left yellow image is the room graphic. What I'll do is I'll click on the change image button to either select one of these images or GIFs, or I can upload my own. In this case, I'll just upload my own image that I just quickly created using Paint for demonstration only. So I've done that. I can choose a waiting room music that is a different one to the default, or I can even upload my own MP3 file. I can show the agenda in the waiting room, and I can choose to select that the participants need to click on the request to join this session. So once you do that, users won't immediately jump into the session, but they'll be sort of in the waiting room after they have made the request to join. Now if I click on the full preview button here, I can see what the waiting room looks like to the users, what it will look like. So as you can see, my profile photo is over here. I can see a few tips, I can see the welcome message, and all of those things. So it looks pretty good to me for now. So I will just close this and I will move to the next tab. Now the next tab is collaborators. Now if you are facilitating, or if you're co-facilitating a Butter workshop, you can invite your other co-facilitators or collaborators to this room. Now once you send them an invite, they'll get an email to join this room, and they'll have access to this room, and they'll be able to help you set things up before the actual session starts. Now needless to say that they will get an account created, or they will have to create a Butter account to be able to access this and help you with the setup of your room. And of course, once they do accept the invitation, they will be a co-facilitator and they will have the same access as you as a facilitator. So you can just enter the email. So you have abc@example.com, and then you click on send, and then that email will get sent to this person. And of course, if you want to cancel the invite, you can just cancel that or resend it. So it's up to you. We'll get to agenda in just a minute. Let's take a look at toolbox. So toolbox contains a set of tools which allows you to add or integrate certain features into your Butter workshop. So as you can see, I've already added a few. There are a few things like whiteboard, so it can add a whiteboard to your workshop, or you could just have a breakout room to your workshop, so on and so forth. Now you can also add these tools from the toolbox once the session starts, but if you want to be a great facilitator, then it is definitely recommended to add tools in advance, so you have time to plan, add all your tools, and then you're all ready for your session. And then once the session starts, you can just click on the tool to activate it. So if you want to add a new tool, just click on add a tool, and let's just add a timer. So we foresee that we'll need a timer of 2 minutes, and we will provide the I am done indicator, a nice little music, different color for the time, and we click on save. So as you can see, because I've spent a few minutes thinking about what I'd need, I know that I'd need a timer for this workshop, so I've already created it in advance, and so during the session I save time by not having to create it on the fly, and instead I can just use it on the go. Now finally, let's take a look at agenda. Now agenda is the plan for the workshop, that is the itinerary. Now what you would want to do is you would want to take some time to think about what this workshop or what this meeting would be, and depending on that you can start typing your agenda right in. So if I click on set up agenda plan, I can click on the add new agenda block to add items to my agenda. So let's say I start by saying the first session will be an icebreaker for 10 minutes, and there's some description about it. The block will be colored red. Now after I've added the basic agenda information, this block, I can also say that for this block I would need a particular tool. So for example, for the icebreaker, I know that I'd require a poll, and so I can start and create a poll, keep that for 20 minutes as well, and the poll question would be cats or dogs, and click on save. So that is my icebreaker session. Close that. So now I have a very clear plan. I know that the first block is going to be an icebreaker session for 10 minutes, where this is going to be the description, and I'm going to use this tool during the icebreaker session. Now similarly, so after of course you have clicked on done and saved it, you can add a new block to the agenda. I say this, I'm going to do this for another 60 minutes. I could add another tool, so let's say for presentations I'm just using a PDF. I can click on PDF presentation, set it up, and that tool will be accessible or will be available for this duration of the agenda. And you can keep on doing this, but I'll just click on done for now, and then that becomes sort of my rough agenda. Now as you can see, it looks very neat, like as if the facilitator has thought about what goes into this meeting, has given some thought, and has described about the various things that they'll be doing. Now this also helps participants because they can see the agenda in the waiting room. So if I click on the waiting room again, go to full preview, you can see another tab has become accessible. It's called agenda, and as a participant I can see that this is the agenda of the meeting that I'm entering. When the time is right, then you can click on start session to actually start the session. Now once you have started your session, participants will start entering into your waiting room, and because we have enabled request to join, they will all be clicking the request to join button and be just waiting in the waiting room. So as a facilitator, remember to see the waiting room and either admit each person or reject somebody from entering into the room, or just click on the admit all button so that they all can join in the meeting. Now you can also send a message to the people waiting in the waiting room if required. Now the other thing you would notice is that this icon has now showed up in the top left of our meeting, and this is the branding icon that we had earlier set in this video. So that's where it shows up. You have the agenda that's now start agenda button that's now here. Now if I click on this, I can see that I have now started the agenda, and it clearly tells me what the agenda is, the description about it, and the tool is very clearly accessible over here, so I can always start that, and that's what will show up. Now this is great because not only can you see how long the agenda is for, so it's for 10 minutes, and how much of time has lapsed already. Even participants can also see. So if I switch to the participant view, they can also see that the agenda is currently in progress, and this is what's going on at the moment. Now instead of clicking the toolbox and then accessing one of the tools, by adding or by attaching a tool to the agenda block, the tool is readily accessible right here. So you can just click on start anytime and then it just starts. Now of course you can pause the agenda, you can reset it, or you can just go on to the next chapter of the agenda, which is in this case presentation about future plan, and that timer is now started. A couple of other things that you might need to keep in mind apart from this is to view any reactions that you receive throughout the presentation. So if I receive a reaction like this, I can see that the iPad user has sent a reaction. So I could, if I wanted to react to it, I could ask a few questions and then get back to my workshop. Another couple of things that you need to take a note is if anybody has a question or has a comment, then it shows up on the top right, and you know how many people have asked a question, so you can give them the mic to indicate that they are now free to ask the question, and they'll just click on done and then the queue will be cleared. So a couple of things to note over there. If you are just a facilitator and someone else is presenting, so you're sort of the organizer, you can keep an eye on the chat to see what people are posting. If they're posting any questions or they're posting any messages, that might actually help. And then of course the big thing that we all forget during virtual meetings, during virtual workshops, is forgetting to record the session. So the record button is available right here in the bottom left. If you do need the session recorded, click on this and this will start the recording, and then at the end of the session the recording will be processed, and you can access the recording by heading over to recaps, and your entire video will be available. To stop the recording, I can click on the stop recording button and it will just stop recording. Your list of participants is available here from the top right, and then of course if you still have people in the waiting room, it's right here. So just something to keep a note on. Depending on what type of workshop it is, you might want to share your screen, or if you get a request from one of the participants to share their screen, then you might need to accept it. The other thing is about stage mode. So if you're facilitating sort of like a TED talk type of a situation, as a facilitator you will have access to something called a stage mode, which means you can add participants to stage, multiple or single, remove participants from the stage, and also start the stage. So that means everyone will know who is currently speaking. So these are a couple of things to just sort of keep in mind. All of these items will be presented once again in different videos in this series where I'll dive a bit deeper. So this was just an overview for you facilitators, so that you know what to look for during a better workshop. Now once you're done with the workshop, you can click on leave session and either leave individually or end the session for all. And that's pretty simple. You can go back to the dashboard and your meeting notes and all those things will be available in the recap right over here. So that was a quick video on Facilitator 101 using Butter. Do give it a like, a share and a subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos to come on this channel.